when women support one another, we all get seen. We grow together.
Better known to her adoring fans as Big Fat Greek Mother on Instagram, Olga is an award-winning writer, actor, comedian, and the hilariously honest voice behind one of Instagram's most beloved personas.
There wasn't any information about what it feels like to be perimenopausal. You have to fight for yourself. You have to go, do you know what? No one else is going to look after me. But my body still sometimes feels alien to me and I just want to hide under a blanket. But I know that there are other women feeling like me. You have to get the help, and it's so hard. It's so hard. Glam, looking nice like today, or like I said, Hagrid, you're swimming for dear life. It's like you're swimming but you're not moving forward. I just saw my mother struggle through so much adversity, and the thing that she's taught me, which has always stayed with me, was the more dark the day, the more bright the lipstick.
Hi there, I'm Leah, and welcome to the House of Hormones podcast. Olga, aka Big Fat Greek Mother, welcome to the House of Hormones.
I can't believe you've invited me here. I'm so honoured, and I love the little description. What did you call me? The poster girl for... What did you say? It was brilliant. For the patron saint of breakdowns. What was it? Patron saint of hormones. Or it's brilliant.
Yeah. Well, listen,
I love it. So clever.
Your content, honestly, has me in stitches. Like, I'm constantly, like, you just nail it every time. But for those of our listeners that don't know you, tell us a little bit about yourself.
I am Olga Thompson. I have 3 sons. I live out in Hertfordshire. I am an actor and a writer and a comedian. Mostly I hang out online, which is where you'll find me, the day-to-day goings on. And I make relatable comedy about being a mother of teenagers and what it feels like to juggle the food shop with trying to work with their hormones, with your hormones, with grumpy husbands, and feeling like you're invisible sometimes as well. And I love looking quite glamorous online, but I also love letting it all hang out, for those moments where we just don't care and we do rock up at the corner shop looking like Hagrid. So that's me in a nutshell. And I just love to make people feel good and normal and like they belong somewhere. I want my page to feel like a big fat Greek sitting room where you're so welcome. You sit down, I make you a Greek coffee, I give you some baklava. I just want people to feel like they belong somewhere.
And hang on, have I been saying baklava completely wrong my whole life?
No, it's because of the Greek thing, baklava. It's the Greek way. Baklava is correct.
Okay.
I'm going baklava.
See, honestly, on the House of Hormones podcast, you learn something new every day. It's not just about hormones, guys. We cover all topics here. We cover everything. So I mean, I love your content, and I've told you this previously. I mean, you mentioned the corner shop. That's one of my favorite ones, where you're like the cook guy at the corner shop has seen me in some of my worst states.
You've seen it all, because sometimes we just want to nip out quickly, or my son might need a lift, or one of the boys needs a lift or whatever, and I'm like, if you want a lift, this is what you're going to get. I'm wearing dad's sliders that are 4 sizes too big for me. I've got your Star Wars Christmas socks on. This is what you're going to... I have 2 looks, Leah. Right now you look absolutely stunning. I don't know if this is your day-to-day standard, but I do not. I either have glam, looking nice like today, or, like I said, Hagrid. There is no kind of in between. I don't know how to do in between anymore.
You're so funny. I want to talk a little about your character. Okay, so Big Fat Greek Mother. It's basically the patron saint of hormonal meltdowns, right?
Oh, brilliant.
Love that. Born from your own personal experiences.
Well, I started going through perimenopause really young, like my mother did. She started when she was like in her mid to late 30s. And after I had my 3rd son, I started having really bad kind of hormonal outbreaks, tears, because I suffered really bad postnatal depression, and I had a breakdown actually after the birth of my 3rd son. And then somehow that seemed to trigger some kind of early perimenopausal onset situation, which was not wonderful when you've come through that fog for me. So I'm 50 now. So 10 years ago, when I started going through my journey, there wasn't any information about what it feels like to be perimenopausal. It was a really lonely slog. And I remember going to the doctor and being given some archaic form of HRT. And all my friends were like, you can't take that. What are you doing? And no one else was at the stage that I was at. And it was quite lonely. But as the years have gone on, kind of those people have caught up and are now starting that journey that I started 10 years ago. But I saw my mother suffer as a young child. I saw her crying on the floor. I saw her coming from work and not understand what was going on in her body. And I just ached to see her like that. And so when I got to what I assumed was that stage, I just promised myself that I would fight and do all I could to make sure that I would not end up like that. And it's not easy. There isn't information, there isn't the help, there isn't, I know so many women that say, Olga, that's great, but I've gone to the doctor, I've gone to this website, I've tried to go this, I've tried to do this. And I'm like, yes, that's right. You have to fight for yourself. You have to go, do you know what? No one else is going to look after me. No one else is going to put their neck out and say, Olga, that you have to get the help. And it's so hard.
Yeah.
It's so hard.
Thank you for sharing that, because it is, I think the word you used a couple of times there, and it's really important because so many other women that feel like this is very lonely. And I mean, one of the reasons we have the community at the House of Hormones and we have our forum on our website so people can go, because sometimes it's just about having your feelings validated or knowing that someone's going through it. It's not always looking for an answer to that problem. You just want to be heard.
Of course, that's it. You just want to know that you're not going mad and that you are normal. And there is a lot of chat online about perimenopause and menopause, but actually, it's what's the word? We've still got a long way to go.
We have such a long way to go, and unfortunately for women, I think people are always dealing with perimenopause and motherhood at the same time, and they're actually both very lonely things. But what you've done is you've managed to elevate the conversation, bring community together, but through comedy. I mean, isn't that amazing that you can do that? You have this amazing superpower to be able to get people and bring people together and raise such important conversations, but through comedy and giving us all a laugh.
Well, the thing is, I didn't know I had this superpower. It was just a case of I was really lonely and I wanted somewhere to belong. So I thought if I just talk about that, maybe other people will come along, and they did. I had someone say something quite nasty to me online, usually on Facebook. That's where the trolls seem to hang out, on that particular app. I don't mind so much these days, but there was a whole thread about put it away, love. You're too old for it now. You're an embarrassment. What kind of example is this to your kids? Dancing. If you've got your hormones, why are you dancing in the middle of a supermarket? And all these women came to my defense saying, if you were ever as hormonal as we are, you would be doing this and a lot worse. And I thought, these are my girls.
Yeah.
This is my community. I put myself out there, and suddenly other women went, no, I want to belong there too. And there are days, I'm not going to lie, where I don't want to be online. I don't want to create content. I don't want to talk about it because I'm going through those symptoms. And I feel like right now, I don't know why, but I work out, I eat well, but I still feel like I'm 6 months pregnant. Like it's just, it's really tough, and I know people, I know that I'm trying to say, I know that I look well and I look fit and I look healthy, but my body still sometimes feels alien to me and I just want to hide under a blanket. But I know that there are other women feeling like me.
Yeah.
So I show up for them and then they show up for me. It's two ways, Leah. That community is two ways.
I love you for saying that. I show up for them and then they show up for me. But it is
always.
And I think, I always say to women and to myself, to be clear, sometimes that's just how you feel in that day. And the crazy thing about hormones is, especially with perimenopause, other times in your life where there will be hormonal shifts, so maybe after a baby or puberty. And the thing is, they do fluctuate so much. So
they do.
I always say to people, just wait till tomorrow. Tomorrow is a new day.
Just wait till tomorrow.
You may feel completely different. And I am very guilty of feeling like that. Like one day it can be like everything feels hard, as
I know.
There's half term, everything can feel overwhelming. And then the next day, you're queen of the world and you can juggle it all. And...
Do you know what? I had that on Saturday. Was it Saturday? I felt really low. Felt really, really low, and that nothing was going well, and I was this failure, and I just felt so low, and I had to just speak to myself and say, it's okay that you feel like, normally in the past I would go, oh my God, there is something wrong, I am a failure, and then I just went, it's okay, you're feeling like this now, but you won't feel like this in a couple of days, so stay here if you need to, stay quiet, but you won't stay there forever, and it was really good to be kind. That's the thing. We're so kind, aren't we? Kind to everyone. kind to the postman, kind to our children, kind to the teachers at our kids' school, kind, but we're never kind to ourselves, especially when we are having that hormonal flux, to say, that's okay, you just need a little bit of, okay, it's okay, just for a bit.
Everybody listening, I mean, there's two things that I think people, that think are buzzwords and people struggle with. One of them is advocate for yourselves, and people always say to me, "Well,
yes,
what that means." But
absolutely,
you've just hit on be kind to yourself, and then people
absolutely
don't know what that means. And that's exactly what it means. You've just given us the perfect description and also an example of where you've had to apply that. You've had to take a step back and go, don't talk to myself like that. Give myself a break. I'm going to feel differently tomorrow. And just to remember, it very much normally can be, it's your hormone.
Absolutely. And they're not forever. Equally, do not, on a very bad hormonal day, have ideas about taking down one of the walls in the house with a rolling pin. Because my eyes will go like this, and I'll say to my husband, should we move the staircase? Or I think I want to paint that wall again, even though I only painted it maybe last time I felt hormonal, so it's like it's that feature wall in my living room. I mean, feature walls are probably so lockdowny, aren't they? But I'm still on the feature wall. It's had so much paint on it. It's like heaving, going, please don't get me any more. It's like cakes. It's like Joan Collins smothered in makeup. It's like, please. It's crying out. But I do get these urges, but it's really hard to stop yourself sometimes when you do go, oh, but you know what, Leah? I've just learned to say sorry. Sorry to my husband, sorry to my kids, sorry to people in the supermarket when I have been a bit snappy or a bit, because I think you can't control yourself all the time, but you can say sorry.
Yeah. Well, that's really good advice. Can I just ask, why we're talking about this? What would be your most common symptoms? And was there a symptom of perimenopause really unexpected for you that you now know was a perimenopausal symptom?
Absolutely. Anger. Huge anger. And it was very different to other anger I've had, which is from past trauma. So I've been through a lot of counselling and therapy in my life, which is like been something that I've needed to do for my journey. And it wasn't that kind of anger. It was like a kind of came out of my womb. It was like my ovaries were raging, and I just felt hot and irritated. And it was a different anger to the anger that I've worked through in my therapy sessions. And it was just a kind of irked. I was irked, and I was and not feeling a bit like I was wearing somebody else's outfit, and it was just that kind of uncomfortable in my body feeling, which I now know to be a symptom of perimenopause. By the way, I've been told apparently it's not a symptom, that you're meant to say they're called signs, because menopause and perimenopause isn't a disease.
Yeah.
I've been told.
Yeah. The thing is, I think you can get bogged down with a lot of that stuff, and I think,
oh yes,
I just want everybody to be free to talk about it, because there's a lot of confusion and a lot of people that don't like the term brain fog. And I just think, look, if that's what people know it as and that's how people can understand it, the fact that we're having the conversation, who cares what we call it? Like, just have the conversation and allow people to voice it the way they want to. But that's so interesting that you mentioned rage and anger. And yes, it definitely is. And other people have discussed how they've gone from 0 to 100.
So simple. Yeah. Like screaming, like you've spit, like, I don't know, you've spilt milk or whatever. And it's really not that big a deal, but it's like, because it's almost like I just can't cope with one more thing. It's that feeling of I'm just about coping here, and anything else, like spilling cream all over the floor, double cream, which I often do. I always tip double cream all over the floor. I don't know why. I don't know why it's always double cream, like genuinely, or whatever it is. It's something that, and it just, when you get you bang your elbow on a door or something, and it just fills you with rage. It's because you're unsettled, and you're, I mean, I don't know the whole science of it, but it's something to do with your estrogen is low and your body's like struggling. You're swimming for dear life. It's like you're swimming, but you're not moving forward. And then on top of that, someone tips a whole vat of double cream on top of you. Like, that is too much. It's That's why we feel the rage, because we're just about coping.
I'm gonna need a reel, an Instagram reel of exactly that, and we want tagged.
Yeah, in fact, I might shoot that later.
Double cream rage reel. That's what we want, and we want the performance tagged in that. And everybody that's listening, make sure you go and like that reel because it'll be out. I want to talk a little bit about your book, Split Ends. So it dives into identity, family, womanhood. Is this the reason you wrote the book, because of your own experiences?
Yes. I grew up in a hairdressing salon in the 1980s, in my mother's salon. And I saw my mother not only be a hairdresser, but be a counsellor, be a best friend. She probably had her own podcast show back there in the 80s, chatting to all these amazing women from all different nationalities and countries and walks of life. And everyone came there to break bread and share stories and share songs and share experiences. And it was a place where I learnt about community and women really genuinely supporting other women. You know, I saw my mother pour out her heart and other customers pour out their hearts to her. You know, some of her dearest old customers came to my book launch the other week, actually. Annette and Sheila in their 80s, they came along and remembering the stories of the old salon. But the hair salon was a rock, and it was a place of safety for me, especially being that immigrant bullied kid who really struggled to belong. And then later in life, when I went through my breakdown after the birth of my third son, it was a place that I revisited, because I remember that it was my rock. It was my first experience of theatre and my first experience of the world, and where almost I learnt, where my socialisation happened. And that's when I wrote the Edinburgh Fringe show, El Grego of Hornsey, about the shop. And then I went on to write the book, Split Ends. So it's a story about my life, but it's got lots of lessons in there and lots of it's mainly a book of encouragement. It's a little dose of encouragement. Think of it as you're sitting under the hairdryer with your rollers in your hair and a cup of tea. That's how I want the book to feel.
Oh, I absolutely love that. I mean, your career really is soaring at the minute, but it kind of feels like you're bringing your community along with you. Like you're bringing along all your Instagram followers on the journey, and you're just still really keeping it real. How are you managing to do that? When was the last time you checked in on your body? So often as women, we're encouraged to listen to our bodies, but without the right insights, it's hard to know what's really going on. When it comes to your health, one of the most powerful things you can do is to take control. That's where Randox Health comes in. Their range of dedicated female-focused health checks give you the information you need to take control of your well-being. From hormonal health to key areas like nutrition, thyroid function, gut health, and heart health, Randox Health tests go beyond the basics, helping you spot potential issues early. I love that it's proactive. It's not about waiting until things go wrong. It's about feeling empowered with clear, easy to understand results that guide your next steps. This is healthcare that feels like self-care. And as a listener of today's episode, you can get 15% off your Every Woman or Discovery Health checks with code HOH15. That's HOH15. Just visit randoxhealth.com today for health checks that put you back in control.
I've got no idea. I think I feel a bit like I'm in my element now. It's something to do with turning 50, something to do with, I went through the wilderness years. It took me in my 40s to come out of the fog, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And now I've got nothing else to be afraid of. There is nothing that anyone can say about me online that I haven't heard before that is going to upset. Like I'm Teflon now. So, and because I know there's a crowd of women behind me going, yeah, I want to dance in my pajamas in the middle of the supermarket.
Yeah.
I'm like, yes, okay. So I'm encouraged by them. And I'm like, I'm in my element. Why not? Why should I disappear? I don't want to be invisible. I don't want other women to be invisible. So I'll be visible for them. So that gives me the energy and the drive to keep going, I think.
I really love that. And I love something that you've mentioned there, because we talk a lot at the Heights of Hormones, we talk a lot about trying to educate younger women on what's to come. So perimenopause feels so far off. You mentioned that you were perimenopausal early, like your mum.
Yes.
But realistically, now the science is showing that it's very normal to be perimenopausal from 35 onwards. So it's almost not...
sometimes younger even.
And
It's hugely normal, and it's not a some people think, well, if I'm perimenopausal that means I'm old. It's like if you're going through menopause that means old, and I don't know, where did we get this from?
yeah,
This kind of witches of Macbeth mentality, that where who
but then I
who
think
brought it to the table?
younger women are maybe scared to attach that name because of the connotations of being old, like you said, but also it just feels like a really scary thing, of course, because of all
Yes.
the horrible signs and
Yes.
symptoms we talk about.
Yes.
And what would you say, because you've been really positive about where you're at now, and what would you say to younger women about what is the beauty? Because a lot of people that are on the other side of perimenopause, and they talk about the beauty of getting older, and tell us a little bit more about that, like help other people understand what that feels like.
I feel like I'm sitting in my life, and going through menopause and perimenopause has actually really made me listen. Because if you think about it, when that happens, your body's talking to you. Your body's saying, we're changing, but change is also a beautiful thing. It's a privilege to change because it's a privilege to grow older. Change means you're living. Change means that you're alive. And I would just really, really, really embrace that, because I feel like my body spoke to me and said, things are off balance. And so I had to step up and take hold of myself and go, okay, well, what is the care that you need to get well? And for me, it was medication, it was fitness, it was food. It might be sitting under a blanket with a book. For you, you don't have to do all of those things, but it was, what is the thing that's going to make you feel, okay, well, we need to make you feel well. So whereas before I was looking after everybody else, but not myself, which is something we do as women with the invisible load. So it's really made me grow into myself and appreciate my body. And I feel genuinely fitter and better. I look back at pictures of myself in my 30s and I think, oh my goodness, the hair. I had this severe, it was in the days of when Instagram kind of first popped up, and I did all these, like, I had this short black fringe, and I did pictures against a wall with my pram, and, it was just like different days, different times. And, I look now and I just see this softer, kinder, weathered, a more beautiful version. And I don't mean that I'm saying I think I'm beautiful. I'm saying I see somebody who's overcome so much, and it's all etched on her face. Like, I haven't chosen to have anything done. That's my personal preference. And I just think when you see me, you see my journey. And so for me, it's a beautiful place to be. It's a wholesome, I feel more whole than I've ever done.
It sounds a little bit like perimenopause and like maybe the last years have been almost a journey of self-love for you, and you now love yourself, and so when you look at yourself you don't critique yourself, or you don't find
I have my days.
I
have my days.
I mean, we did just discuss earlier about how you were digging yourself out a couple of days ago and saying you were a failure.
Yeah. And also when you open that front camera and you see the chins.
Oh, that's one of my worst things in the whole world, honestly, when that happens. And it always happens to me. You just open your oh God.
You're beautiful. Can I just say
beautiful.
You are beautiful.
Well, I didn't want to interrupt you when you said I'm not saying I'm beautiful. You are absolutely beautiful. What's one bit of content that you make that resonates, seems to resonate with women so much? I've already pointed out two to you. So the one in the Tesco's and you're dancing. I mean, even when I watch that, it makes me dance. And then obviously the corner shop, the guy at the corner shop, I love that. But what's one bit that, every time you do content based on that, women go crazy or they love it?
I think it's the relatable. The relatability is the overwhelm, the load. Any comedy that I make about the overwhelm, people love it. Feeling overwhelmed because your kid says that they like this particular yogurt, so you buy 17 pots of that yogurt and then they don't eat it for 3 weeks and it goes off. The overwhelm of, Mum, can you get this and this? My PE kit's wet, my this and the overwhelm, and how I respond to that, which is through terrible dancing, just that feeling of being overwhelmed and dealing with it in a comical way. That is the most relatable thing I do. That a lot of the POVs were walking into your teenager's bedroom, or POV or perimenopausal, any of those things where I'm just sending myself up. People really love that because people just want to see themselves. That's it. They just want to know that they're normal.
And has comedy helped you like reclaim a part of yourself? And has it helped you overcome things regarding your own self-esteem and your body and the way you look?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, because I've found ways to just laugh at myself, it's yeah, absolutely. It's given me a freedom, I think, to just go, well, this is it. This is it now. So what you see is what you get. Yeah, it's just a freedom. And then it's been a way to explore and find my confidence away, kind of like putting one little foot in front of the other one. If I just try this little bit of content while I'm feeling a little bit hangry right now. Oh, it works. Okay. Right. Okay. Well, I don't feel so hangry now. Like I'll just go and smash a wall down with a rolling pin instead. It's been a way for me to explore and find solutions, not only for myself, but for those that follow me and are in the community as well.
Were you shocked that so many people resonated? Because there's something really beautiful in that, but then there's also something really sad in that, if you know what I mean. Like the fact that people resonate with, and so many women feel like that, feel like they're going,
Yes.
do you know what I mean?
Yeah. It's sad that they haven't got anywhere else to go, or they haven't got anywhere else that they feel that they can belong, and I get hundreds and hundreds of DMs of women saying, thank you, because I feel I've been going mad for the last few years. I've been going through these hormones. This has been going on. And I come to your page because then I feel normal, or I see myself. And it's sad that there isn't that resource for them. I mean, I know there's loads of resources for like, this, come to this hotline, or, come to this, or, come to this website, but actually a place where women can go, yeah, I'm itching like a mad hyena. That's me.
Yeah.
That's exactly me, whilst trying to pack a packed lunchbox. There you go. There I am. And I think, yeah, women need to see more women like themselves. And so that's what I'm doing.
And the thing that you mentioned was the mental load and the invisible load. And there is no helpline for the invisible load. You're not going to ring someone and say, hey, by the way, I had to order all the new socks and pants in new sizes. I had to do all the packed lunches because it's half term. I've had to shift around everything. I'm having to, like, no one cares. Even when you rant it to your partner, or they
don't really care. They don't really care. They don't care. They care, but they're not really listening. They're just sort of keeping an eye on BBC Sport on their phone. They don't really, they care, but no one really cares about the juggle and the overwhelm. They don't feel it.
No. And it's hard because like we're kind of a contradiction of ourselves sometimes, because I feel like even if somebody tries to, I know in my circumstances, if somebody tries to take something off my plate, I'm also like, well, you're not going to do it right, so I'll just do it anyway. Do you know? And then we almost keep it, we almost don't allow things to be taken off our plate. Are you guilty of that?
Oh, totally, because I just think no one's going to do it as well as I do, so it's a bit naughty. Then I end up doing it all anyway, because sometimes it's easier to just do it all than to explain, well, if you do that, it's just exhausting to have to explain it. So sometimes we just do it because we know we're going to do it well,
and also it's going to cause you more fuss. I want to talk a little,
of course,
your cultural background and what that's taught you about resilience and motherhood.
Well, my parents came over during the war, so I saw them build a life in a country that was quite alien to them. My mother didn't speak any English, and I talk a lot about this in the book. And I saw her graft. I saw her build a life. I saw her try and learn English. I saw her, some of her employers were so ruthless and so unkind to her when she was starting out as a hairdresser here. And eventually they managed to get their own hair salon. But I just saw my mother struggle through so much adversity. And the thing that she's taught me, which has always stayed with me, was Olga, the darker the days, I'll do it in her accent. Olga, more darker the day, the more bright the lipstick. And she has always taught me to hold my head high. Even when we didn't have much money, she would crochet dresses for us, or she would pick flowers from the garden and put them in our hair. She taught me to stand tall, and even though I was bullied at school, she would always give me these incredible hairstyles, and she couldn't fight for me in the playground and, tell people to leave her daughter alone, but she fought for me in the way that she knew how, which was with her hairdressing comb. And so I would always have the best hair, the newest hairstyle, the best, oh gosh, the best 80s mullet, the whatever. She would give that to me for my confidence. And so it's it's very apt that the book is called Split Ends and New Beginnings. But I also saw my mother be a woman who, she never pushed herself forward. She never, tried to outdo another woman. She was always she was beautiful. She still is. She was just very graceful. She was very humble. And I love the way that she lived her life and the lessons that she taught me. And she taught me how to be, I won't say a good mother, but to be the best mother for my children.
Oh, wow. That's an insane compliment, isn't it, for your mum? That's such a lovely thing to say.
There's no such thing as a good mother. That term in itself is full of shame and judgment. Are you a good mother? But are you the best mother for your children? Yes.
Oh, I love you. You're so lovely. Way of like wording things. It's really interesting that you pointed out that you never seen your mum like try and, pull down other women. And obviously she created this amazing sense of community. And that's what we're all about. Like, we love that. I think women have often been really pitted against each other. And in the world of comedy, I've seen this quite a lot. And it's just never really been my experience. Now, I grew up with 3 brothers. So I grew up all wow. So I really gravitate towards women. So I'm always like, hi, like, let me in the gang. Do you know what I mean? So because
me too.
Being around.
Me too. I want to be with women.
Yeah, but I've never really experienced this when the way women are painted to like kind of not support each other. And actually the world of women's health, women are massively supported. What is it like in the comedy world with women?
I've always found it a very supportive space. I think it's not the women themselves in comedy, but the women around them saying, oh, but somebody else did that gag, or somebody else did that sketch, or I've seen that sketch online. But it's going to happen where somebody does a similar sketch, because it's such a saturated space that and also life is one life. There are things that we all pull out from the same life. We're all mothers, not all mothers, but if we're all women, or if we're all mothers, then we're all going to create the same comedy because we're mothers and we're women. Or if we're all been to Morrison's and tripped over a tin of tuna, then, oh, but I tripped over a tin of tuna. Well, so did I. Well, you're copying me. No, that's life, and I think it's more the people that are watching the comedy that will pick the women as opposed to the actual women in comedy. I did a gig a few years back, and I had 2 women say that they weren't really interested in the show. They said something like, what did they say? They said they were friends with another well-known comedian who they liked more than me, so they said they didn't want to stay and watch the show. And I was like, well, why have you bought a ticket? What are you doing here? I was just like, why even bother to come and tell me that? I think they were trying to say, well, we know this particular person, and I'm like, oh, well done. Like, I listen to me. Listen, I don't care what field you're in, okay? There is room for everyone. There are loads of fashion creators, okay? I will happily sit and watch the same woman, 7 different women in the same outfit, because they're all wearing it differently. I will happily watch a skit, okay, about a woman having her arguing with her husband about the fact that she never loads the dishwasher correctly, okay? Because that happens to us all in a different way. So there is room for everybody. And what we keep missing is that when women support one another, we all get seen. We grow when we grow together. There's very few people that get there when they get there alone. It's fact.
Yeah.
It's fact.
Yeah.
In all areas of life.
And that's something we absolutely love about you. And I think that shines through. And that's why I wanted to ask you that, because you could just tell that you're all about supporting other women. And obviously here we just absolutely love that. What's something you would tell your younger self that either about life in general or about hormones? What's the one thing that you wish you knew earlier? When was the last time you checked in on your body? So often as women, we're encouraged to listen to our bodies, but without the right insights, it's hard to know what's really going on. When it comes to your health, one of the most powerful things you can do is to take control. That's where Randox Health comes in. Their range of dedicated female-focused health checks give you the information you need to take control of your well-being. From hormonal health to key areas like nutrition, thyroid function, gut health, and heart health, Randox Health tests go beyond the basics, helping you spot potential issues early. I love that it's proactive. It's not about waiting until things go wrong. It's about feeling empowered with clear, easy to understand results that guide your next steps. This is healthcare that feels like self-care. And as a listener of today's episode, you can get 15% off your Every Woman or Discovery Health checks with code HOH15. That's HOH15. Just visit randoxhealth.com today for health checks that put you back in control.
I'd probably tell myself to buckle up, babe.
Yeah.
It's gonna be rad. I would probably tell myself just to be really kind and patient with yourself, and don't believe your feelings ever. Don't trust your feelings are deceptive. Your feelings are so good at convincing you that what you're feeling is true. That's what I would say to myself, because so many times I've made errors in life where I've just gone on my feelings and it's been the wrong thing. Sometimes you have to kind of sit back and just sit in it. And I would probably say to myself just to be a bit kinder and go a bit slower. Be a bit kinder to yourself and go a bit slower. Yeah, that's what I would probably say to myself.
I love that. As a mum of 3 boys, what way have you kind of raised them to know about hormones and understand that journey?
Oh, I tell them any and every opportunity. They don't always want to listen, but I'll say, do you know what Mum's going through? There's a decline in my estrogen today. They're like, Mom, can you shut my door? So I think they're aware that something is happening to Mum, and I tell them, Mum is very hormonal today. They don't always get it, but they have to listen to it. Or, you know, if I've had time when I've had heavy periods, I'll say, son, I've got a heavy period. And it's just like, oh. But I think they get their example from their dad. So their dad is my husband is very supportive and loving and treats me with a lot of respect, and has taught the boys to do the same and to view other women in that same way. I think because of the role model he's been, that's the kind of young men that they've become. And yeah, they are really great, kind, gentle young men who have such empathy and kindness and are my biggest supporters, you know. And people say, oh, your sons can't be your friends, your children can't be your friends, but actually they're brilliant. They're my mates. They're so funny. They are so funny. I love hanging out with them, and I actually enjoy this part of parenting more than I did in the beginning, you know, because when mine were very, very young, I was discussing how I had that breakdown, and it was really tough to connect with my children. And even though they were fine and they were safe, I felt like they were the lost years. So when I got well, I felt like that was when I just really started to enjoy these little people who were around me, who were really funny. And so these are like my glory years of parenting, really. And I feel sad that, you know, they'll be gone soon. But yeah, I love it. I love it.
Because we talk a lot about including men in the conversation. Like I mentioned, I have brothers, I have a son, I have like it's all, we want to bring men into the conversation. But I think,
of course,
I think you don't know what you don't know, right? So they're not going to understand what a period feels like or what hormonal fluctuations feel like. They will have their own hormonal fluctuations at different times of their lives, but not kind of in the same way as women do. And so I think you've done an amazing job of, well, it sounds like, of getting through to them. And maybe comedy is the way, because I'm forever.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so, because I don't know how else. I don't know what else to do. You know, I literally don't know. I don't have anything else in my arsenal. This is it.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think comedy is great, isn't it? It's just it works across all cultures. It breaks down all barriers. It's such a great way to say what you need to say.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
You spoke a little bit about your breakdown, and thank you for sharing that, because that will help so many different women. But if somebody is kind of there at the moment, or that's how they're feeling, like what's the one bit of advice, and what was your takeaway from that experience?
I think for me, I struggled for quite a few years in this horrible place where I totally lost who I was and lost all kind of grip of reality. did all the basic mothering functions, but my mind had really checked out and I became very, very ill. But I think for me, the turning point was one day in the middle of Morrison's, my local haunt. Other supermarkets are available. And I put down my basket, and I was walking through the aisle, and I was not feeling quite right. And I just this moment I went, oh my God, I'm not very well. And it was this realization that all the things that had been going on in my head, all the anxious thoughts and feelings, were because I wasn't well. And it was just this massive relief of, oh, I need to go and get some help. And I think that is the turning point. It's the realizing that you need help, because we just keep going. We're not right, but we keep going. We keep going. We keep going. But when you realize that something isn't right for yourself, that's the biggest hurdle. The help is there. Sometimes we say, oh no, but there is help, but you have to get to that point where you realize that you're not quite well. For me, it was that realization that I needed help, and then I went and got the help, and I didn't stop till I had enough of the help that I needed to pull me through. So I think the first thing, it's a very sensitive subject, but I think it's just realizing that some of the things that you might be thinking or going through your mind aren't the truth. It might just be that that there is something more going on under the surface, and you might need help. I had horrible fixations about death and really difficult, intrusive thoughts that I thought were reality when actually they weren't truths. And it was just my mind going, I'm not okay. Can you help me? It was my soul going, I'm not okay. I need someone to look after me. And that's what I did. I went and got the help. So there's no shame. And it's really hard because for some women, hormonal fluctuations can lead to severe mental health issues, which is something that happened with me. And that doesn't mean that you're abnormal at all. You're very normal. You just need a specific kind of care that is available for you.
It's really poignant that you're talking about this and that you're mentioning intrusive thoughts. And because, again, as women, we've been conditioned. I say this all the time. Everyone listening is probably so bored of hearing me say this, but we've been conditioned to just explain away lots of signs or symptoms that you do need help. And it could be an intrusive thought here. Like, I remember driving the car and I literally visualized my car crashing. Not that I was going to do it on purpose. This thought just came into my head.
Yeah.
And then it's like, whoa, wait, what? That's not normal. So that's a sign or a symptom, a sign that you might need a bit of help, or you might need to talk to someone. Or have you had a moment of like a full circle moment where you've realized that now your voice and talking about this, and you mentioned there is no shame. And the way you talk about this so beautifully and eloquently, and are able to just describe to other women how you felt, and so many people are going to resonate with this. So many people, Olga. And it's just amazing. Have you actually had that front circle moment where you realize that now you are actually helping other women with your voice?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I'm there. I'm absolutely there. And I'm proud to share my story. I'm also an ambassador for Kidscape, the children's anti-bullying charity, and I know that I'm not a child going through bullying, but I was a child going through bullying, and there are many adult survivors who still struggle with the repercussions of being bullied and called the names that they were called. So it's a massive privilege to be asked to share my story, even today, when people say that, like for you inviting me on the show, it's a privilege to be able to share that, because it's reclaiming piece by piece, the things that would have been destroyed or ruined, or the things that you thought were lost. You can see little tiny shoots growing. And one of my favorite quotes ever is by the speaker Christine Kane, and she says, just when you thought you were buried, you were actually planted. And that's the message that I want people to get from the book. It's the message that I want people to get when they come to see the show. It's the message that I want people to feel when they come to my page that, you know, out of what you think is death, there are shoots coming through. You're not actually dead. You've been planted, and don't be afraid of the darkness or the low times or the fog. Don't run away from it. You know, there is help for you, and you are not alone, and you're very, very normal.
That's so lovely. I've never heard that quote. I absolutely adore that.
Oh, I love her. She's brilliant.
And I suppose, you know, looking back now, really, when you think about the fact that you had to go through bullying and how horrible people were to you, I mean, it kind of was just a chapter in your story, because if you're kind of saying in your face now to the bullies, because you've made a whole career, a very, very successful career,
Yeah,
out of, you know,
yeah,
people laughing with you,
yeah,
and
yeah,
making fun
yeah.
of yourself and reclaiming.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is that when I began my journey, Leah, it was all about making people laugh so they wouldn't pick on me at school and keeping the bullies at bay. And then later in life, I found that comedy was my thing, and that as long as I made people laugh, they would like me. But now I'm in a place where I don't need you to laugh at me. I want you to be laughing with me.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's where I'm at.
I love that. Tell us a little bit about the tour. Tell us about the show.
So my Big Fat Greek Menopause, we're going to Ireland next week. And then we've got a tour to be confirmed, the next leg of the tour, which is going to be confirmed for spring 2026. And we've got a London date as well on the 11th of October at Leicester Square Theatre. But then the full-on tour starts again in spring 2026.
Well, I will be there in October. I'm going to come.
Oh, yay!
I'm going to come to that. And we're also going to link that below. So for anybody that wants to come to that, of course, we're also going to link your book, Split Ends, and your absolutely hilarious Instagram account. So for anybody that's not following you, I seriously get off this now and go and follow Big Fat Greek Mother. Just search Olga Thompson, it'll come up as well. But
thank you so much.
I just want, in one last thing to end on, in true Greek mother fashion.
Oh, yes.
Can you just give us your last bit of advice for any woman going through anything at the moment? What would your one last Greek mother bit of advice be?
Nothing is ever as bad as it feels. And even if it is really bad and horrendous, there is always hope. There is always a light at the end of the tunnel, and things don't stay the same forever. So take courage, because hope is always there, even in the darkest of moments.
Oh,
it's not very Greek, but you know.
Well, you do, and also you give us your mums earlier, and I love that. What was your mum's in the lipstick?
Yes, the darker the day, the brighter your lipstick.
I love that. I absolutely love that. Olga Thompson, thank you
for having me
so much. You are an inspiration. Not only do you make us laugh, you make us cry, you make us wake up and see the truth behind a lot of things. And you're
thank you for having me.
Advocate for women everywhere and an inspiration. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. It's just been such a joy to chat to you, Leah.
If you enjoyed this episode today, don't forget to like and subscribe to the House of Hormones podcast. Your support really does help us reach more people and spread the word about women's health. If you want to stay connected, follow us on our social media. And here's something really important. We're on a mission to secure more funding for women's health initiatives. Sign our government petition today and help us amplify our voices for better healthcare resources and support. Together, we can make a difference. Thank you for being part of our journey. We can't wait to see you in the next episode.